In recent years, the Golden Trail series has reached more than 30 million people through print, web and social media, and 10,000 of the world's toughest athletes have taken part. The series gives off-road runners the opportunity to enjoy trail running at the highest level. The races in this brand new competition have been chosen for the challenge, the history and the atmosphere that they offer. World-class athletes from around the globe will come together and challenge one another for the crown. Made for nature lovers who want to get into the wild country on their own 2 feet, this is going to be the experience of a lifetime. The season opens in Zagama with its famous crowds who cheer the runners to the summit. Then the Mont-Blanc Marathon, running under the gaze of Europe's highest mountain. Sierre-Zinal is the fastest race of the series, attracting the best to race. Pikes Peak in the USA is the highest and hardest climb of the series into thin air at 4,000 metres. Scotland's Ring of Steel gives you wet and technical ridges before the final takes place at South Africa's OTTER Trail, with only the top 10 men and women invited to fight it out.
There's still something to hold on to, something to hold on to. There's still something to hold on to, something to hold on to. There's still something to hold on to, something to hold on to. There's still something to hold on to, something to hold on to.
Race 1, Zagama, and the Basque town of just over 1,500 inhabitants is turned into the epicentre of trail running for a unique weekend. Sweden's Ida Nielsen and the men's defending champion Stian Agerman-Wick are as nervous as the rest before the race gets started. Some are relaxed, but most, like Switzerland's Remy Bonnet, are focused on the start. "42 kilometres of murderous mountain running ahead on a course that's famous for its mud. But mostly it's the crowds who climb to the highest points to roar on the runners through 2,736 metres of ascent. The race is tough and very close, but all the elite runners are raised up by a crowd of 10,000 as they take on the climb of Sancti Spiritu.
Sancti Spiritu, it's really amazing. It lifted me up, because there it started to be really hard for me.
It's just not possible to go up there in a slow pace.
All the climbs where people are cheering, that was amazing.
The grass was vibrating, and it was so loud.
Almost start crying several times.
Yes.
Zagama, it's more than a race, it's a religion.
The men's race is won by Remy Bonnet, taking Agerman-Wick's title by a minute 30. Ida Nielsen convincingly wins the women's event, taking the first 100 points of the series, while Bonnet strikes the first blow in the men's. For the second race, we move to the heart of the Alps for a 42-kilometre race that also includes 2,780 metres of climbing on stunning trails, the iconic Marathon de Mont-Blanc. It's a place where amazing wildlife roams on the slopes, and the runners get to do the same as they wait for race day, putting in last-minute training or just taking time to forget competition and just enjoy being in the mountains.
We sat below the willows tree, and the chimney smoked, and the eyes did gaze, and someone turned on the moon.
The legendary town of Chamonix is the perfect place to host the Mont-Blanc Marathon, and race day dawns with perfect conditions for running. Second in Zagama, Laura Orge is looking to go one better. while Kylian Jornet makes his first appearance this season, facing tough opposition in a race that every trail running star wants to win. With over 10,000 runners taking part in a weekend of racing, this is the biggest trail running festival in the world, with a host of different events taking place. The toughest competition is undoubtedly in the marathon, and Agamemnon Vic faces the very best. Pretty soon, it's the Catalan Kylian Jornet racing the Basque Aritz Egea in the battle for the lead. Whilst amongst the women, the New Zealander Ruth Croft pushes ahead of Ida Nielsen and Ellie Gordon. Jornet gets the better of his recent injuries and Aritz Egea to take a commanding lead as the women too move on towards the end of the race in increasing heat. Jornet proves he's back in business, coming in to win ahead of Lorenstein and Agamemnon Vic. Fifth and fading, Aritz Egea pays the price for pushing ahead early on. Ruth Croft runs away with the women's event, showing it's going to be a wide open series. Ahead of round 3 and Sierre-Zinal, Kylian has a chance to meet another legend, the 4-time winner, Pablo Vigil.
The Hall of Fame, goes.
Well, which year is this picture?
I think that was 1980. 1980, yeah. And a long time ago, but
Yeah, I was even born then.
oh, I know. I just asked you, what year were you born? You said
87.
87. So
You win here like 79, 80, 81, 82.
82, and you were born in 87. So it's like, I feel like a dinosaur,
I know, but it's incredible that the times you were running these years, you did like 2:33. It's faster.
Switzerland's Sierre-Zinal, now in its 45th year, is shorter than previous races at 31 kilometres, but with 2,200 metres uphill and half that going downhill, the course perhaps favours the athlete with aerobic endurance above those with technical skill. With 5 previous wins to his name, Kylian Jornet is tied with Mexican Ricardo Mejia for the most wins on the course. Another victory would take Jornet to the top. Ricardo Mejia is racing this year, though as a veteran, he can only watch and see if the younger man can grab that historic crown.
I has been racing Sierre-Zinal for 8 times and actually winning 6 times, so I would say like I'm proud not only for the 6 victories, but it's always something very special. And actually Ricardo Mejia was one of my heroes when I started running, and to be with him in this kind of record, it's something that I could never dream about.
And Ricardo here telling us that 10 years ago he was talking to Kylian that he should run the race because it's so special, and the best athletes in the world come and race. Victory this year is never in doubt for Kylian, who knows this race as well as anyone, but the course record of 2:29.12 set by New Zealander Jonathan Wyatt back in 2002 remains out of reach. And Ricardo once again telling us that the runners here need to be able to handle all terrain, to go up and down, fast on the flat, and a lot of runners don't have these qualities.
I think Jonah's record is incredible, and I think it's possible for someone, but you really need to prepare like whole year almost for the race, to climb very fast and to run very fast. So actually this year it was the first time I has been training a bit on flat, and I was feeling much better on that, but to approach Jonah's record, I think it's, you really need to do a very specific preparation and have the best conditions possible.
Kenya's Lucy Wambui leads the women, and as she chases a second victory, she pulls away from the other women. Wambui defends her title, a terrific run, almost 4 minutes ahead of Germany's Michelle Meyer. Ricardo Mejia proves he's still got it, winning the veterans in a superb 2 hours 56 minutes. After 3 events, Kilian Jornet leads the men's overall ranking in the series, with Arit Sigir and Stian Agerman-Vik his nearest rivals. In the women's series, Ruth Croft and Ida Nielsen have a clear lead, but only 3 points separate them. The USA's Megan Kimmel is in 7th, but she should move up in round 4 when she races at home in the infamous Pikes Peak Marathon. Taking place in Colorado's Rocky Mountains, the 42-kilometer course climbs to 4,300 meters, where runners will struggle for oxygen. It's time for the Americans to fly the flag, and Dakota Jones will challenge any visitor.
Tell you about Colorado? Yeah. Just about Colorado? Well, where can I start?
It's so different than Europe when you have so many more people racing and on trails in general and in towns, and you come out to America and there's like room to breathe.
I don't think people realize like how impressive Pikes Peak is.
More than any place in Colorado, like Pikes Peak just has this air of old, historic Colorado. There's this pioneer like kind of feel to it.
You know, you get to run kind of in the footsteps of a lot of famous people. Frank Shorter ran this race. I mean, Matt Carpenter has the record from 1993. He ran up the mountain 2 hours and 1 minute and down in 1 hour 15 and change.
Then the record that's been established since 1981. Yeah, so I guess that adds to the historic feel of everything.
Do you think anybody's gonna touch that record? I think somebody will get it someday. Somebody's capable of it. In 13 miles, you have to run 8,000 vertical feet uphill, and the summit's at 14,000 feet. You know, all these things combine to make one of the hardest races that I can think of. It's intense, it's high, and there's a huge amount of climbing, you know?
Megan Kimmel doesn't let all that wear down as she pushes for the summit, in the lead and in with a chance of breaking Lynn Bjorklund's course record from 1981. Pushing herself hard to the extremes of exhaustion, Kimmel presses on through the second half. 21 kilometers all downhill. It's hardly any easier. Dakota Jones makes it look easy. Concentration absolutely essential descending at these speeds. Jones takes the win, an incredible run. While in the women's race, the leader, Megan Kimmel, has a shot at the course record.
Didn't really feel that confident like halfway down the descent and pretty much had given up like 3 miles out. But then someone yelled like, hey, like you're in range and you just need to kick it in gear right now and you have a chance, like go. And so with a mile left, like I just kicked it into gear to see if I could make it happen.
It's going to be decided by seconds. If Kimmel wants the glory of beating a 37-year-old record, she must push on. And she's done it by just 14 seconds in over 4 hours of racing. So with just one race to go before the final, athletes now swap the dust of Colorado for the drama of Scotland. The Ring of Steel provides the most technical course in the series, but athletes must perform well in this land of legends to keep their Golden Trail Series hopes alive. Welcome back to the Golden Trail Series. So far in this 2018 season review, we've seen the world's best trail stars battle each other on the planet's most iconic courses. With just one race to go before the final, we come to Scotland for the Ring of Steel. 29 kilometres of torment with 2,500 metres of climbing and descending on torturous and occasionally terrifying terrain. Physically and mentally, it's an exhausting race. If runners want to go to the final in South Africa, everything depends on today. Only the top 10 men and women in the overall standings after the Ring of Steel will be invited for the final race. Stian Agerman-Vick leads overall in the men's series, and he looks safe along with Kilian Jornet. The top 6 might be assured, but the rest of the places are all up for grabs, with Sevenek, Kaprichka and Bartolome all close enough to threaten. In the women's series, it's close at the top, with Ruth Croft facing plenty of challenges from proven contenders Nielsen, Kimmel and Orge. The top 5 should all make it to the final. Anyone further down will have to look over their shoulder. Britain's Holly Page in particular will be looking to do well here and book that ticket to South Africa. From now on though, eyes must be fixed on the trail ahead. With mud, rocks and rivers to cross, a second's loss of concentration could be very expensive. Descending at unbelievable speed, Kilian Jornet revels in the technical conditions to break the course record ahead of Nadia Maguet and Stian Agerman-Vick. Another record falls as Tove Alexanderson, an orienteering specialist, wins the women's event ahead of Victoria Wilkinson and Holly Page.
And here is where we see that was a technical race.
And with the 5th race behind them, the top 10 men and women who will be going to South Africa are announced. Kilian Jornet winning all 3 races he entered. Stian Agerman-Vick, who was always on the podium. Mark Lorenstein, who was always very competitive. Aritz Ajaya, who raced well throughout. The rookie, Oriol Cardona, who surpassed expectations. And Stefan Wenck, who performed consistently. Alexis Sevenek qualified in the last race. Sage Canaday, the only American in the men. Thibaut Baronian hung on to take a spot, and Bartolome also raced well in Scotland to earn his ticket. Ruth Croft is the first woman to qualify, just 3 points ahead of Ida Nielsen. Megan Kimmel smashed a record in Colorado to make the final along with Ellie Gordon and Holly Page, who raced strongly at home. Spain's Sheila Avilés was another consistent racer, as was Italy's Silvia Rampazzo. Fanny Borgström is another who's made it to the final, and Megan McKenzie will get to compete in her home race. And finally, Celine Lafay makes that all-important top 10. Who will come out on top as they travel more than 12,000 kilometres to South Africa to settle the series?
Oh my God, it's amazing. It's so nice to be able to welcome all my friends that I made over the season.
We are traveling all the year round and we meet the athletes in the races, but only like for a few hours when we are running. And it's really cool that we are here all together during 1 week. The atmosphere is just incredible.
I think this will be my 5th or 6th. It's really tough. It's different to anything in Europe and different to anything anywhere in the world that I've experienced.
There's not a lot of support out there. You're out there alone and completely submerged and absorbed by your surroundings and nature.
It's tricky because it's a very different race to all the races this season. So it's probably got some really technical sections, but no massive climbs or massive descents.
The Otter Trail is one of South Africa's most pristine and popular 5-day hiking routes. However, the race takes much less for some athletes as they try to beat a record of just 4 hours. Known as the Grail of Trail, it's marathon distance with over 2,600 metres of climbing, including over 7,000 log steps. The many water crossings include a swim across the infamous Blukron's River as the trail traverses a spectacular landscape with rocky shores, sandy beaches, waterfalls, cliffs and ancient forests. The best athletes from around the world will compete on the hardest race in untamed South Africa.
I think this year with Golden Trail Series it happened something that it had never happened before, is to meet so many good athletes in all the races.
You can compete against the best in the world, so I mean that's why we do the sport, right?
The mood is relaxed as the runners set off from nature's valley and along the sandy beach. But a dip in the Blue Krons River awaits. Bartolomej from Poland leads the men, while Holly Page is first of the ladies to make the leap. The racing is intense and always demanding. Bartolomej surprises a few observers by holding on for the win, in the process breaking Mark Laurenstein's 2016 course record. Laurenstein himself is second over the line ahead of Oriol Cardona. Holly Page wins the women's race just 34 seconds ahead of Ruth Croft, who takes the series title after a consistent season. The men's series title goes to Stian Agerman-Wick, ahead of Mark Laurenstein, whose second in South Africa elevates him above Journet in third. Ruth Croft wins her season-long battle with second-placed Ida Nielsen, and Holly Page takes third. Finally, the season comes to an end with time for those sore legs to recuperate. It's time to relax and take some time out. For the best runners in the world, training never stops. But for once, they can take to the hills as friends and not rivals. And after the descent from Table Mountain, they can cool off in the Cape Town waters. Everyone's a bit tired on the way home, but soon it'll be time to wake up for the 2019 season. All the same stars taking on the Golden Trail World Series for another year, with 6 events leading to another very special final. After all that, once again only the top 10 men and women will be invited to fight it out in the final, this time in the Nepalese Himalayas and the Annapurna Trail Marathon. We'll see you there.